Hello, I'm Luca De Giglio, and this is the Web3 in Travel podcast, where you can learn about crypto, blockchain, and how the new internet will change travel. Okay, here they tell us who the participants are, and there are three kinds of participants: clients, partners. There's a typo, it's partners, but it's partners, and validators. So the clients are the organizations and the individuals who buy services and book products. So if you make a booking or if you open a listing on an OTA, and they can lock their stake of the Camino to earn rewards. Everybody can be a client if a compatible wallet is used. And no, not everybody can be a client because it's a semi-permission blockchain. So you won't allow some kind of individuals, or at least if you do that, if you allow everyone, then you are taking on some risk. So I would say that it's not open to everyone as much as Airbnb is not open to Iranians again, or I don't know about Russians now. So it's more that kind of model, right? It's whatever the powers that be, how you say that, decide who is allowed and who is not allowed. So I wouldn't say that everyone can be a client. And yeah, that raises a question: do I have to KYC as a client? So that's something which is certainly interesting to discuss with them. Okay, I think they answered this in the partners section. They say basically partners are the hotels and the airlines and everybody who provides a service. So again, let's go back. Clients are only customers, basically, not providers. Partners need to be KYC. And this implies that clients won't be KYC'd. And again, okay, well, I mean, that remains to be seen how they're gonna, how they plan to assure compliance here. And then validators. Okay, now they answer the questions we were asking before. Validators are those who run the blockchain, basically, right? They need to have at least 200,000 CAM locked, which is the same system as proof of stake, basically, like all the proof of stake systems. We don't know how much this is in dollars. We will see in the future, I suppose. I don't think the token exists already. And they have to be KYC'd, and that's the part I was waiting for. To be accepted into the role of a validator by a majority vote of the currently active validators. Voting on validators is omitted for pre-sale participants. So basically, it's a majority. It's a simple majority, 51%. You are in. So you have to put money on the table, which kind of forces you to do things right. That's how proof of stake works. And you have to be voted in. They don't specify here how the submission processes. Like, can I simply submit and people have to vote, or somebody has to accept my submission? Okay, more about the KYC. They say that it is not mandatory to be KYC to be a client. So I can book a place and I can pay money without being KYC'd. All right, while the others have to. It's recommended. It increases trust. So, and then another thing to think about, KYC is expensive. If you as a company need to KYC people, you have to pay another company, which makes the KYC. So if you have to pay for KYC clients, and then these clients don't bring money in, you are losing money. That's why probably they decided not to KYC people. Plus, people don't want to be KYC'd on the blockchain. So it's kind of a no-go if you force people to KYC, if you put client to KYC. While, yeah, if I want to book a hotel, I prefer the hotel to be KYC'd. Otherwise, I'm sending money to some scammer. So that makes sense. That's also a cost. So probably in a way or the other, they have to get that money back. Maybe to become a partner, there's going to be some cost involved, maybe some staking, so indirect investment in the platform. But I guess we will see that. DApp incentive pool. They say a great portion of the Camino token supply is allocated to an incentive pool directed at DApp developers. So basically, this is that's what blockchains sell in a way. Blockchains sell block space. You pay gas fees to use the blockchain. But now, who wants to pay for block space? Well, applications. So if I build an Uniswap will attract customers to my blockchain, and those customers will pay the gas fees to swap tokens. So a blockchain without users, it sells block space, which has no value. So a blockchain with users, well, it sells block space, which has value. It's like, again, it's like a Play Store, App Store. If there were no apps and nobody wanted those apps, it wouldn't have any value, right? So a blockchain has to attract dApps, people who build on them. And how this normally happens is that they get incentives. So you get this, a project which is already on 3 blockchains, and they're going to come to your blockchain because you pay them to do so through grants. Solana has grown like this mostly. It's the only way to actually kickstart an ecosystem other than offering a blockchain which offers incredible advantages. But as we see, this is a fork of an existing blockchain, so it doesn't bring any specific advantages to dApp users. And then I suppose you want dApp users in the travel industry, which are today basically non-existent, or there's very few of them, and they're not bringing a lot of usage anyway. So it's really early on. And it makes sense that a lot of the token supply is going to be paid in grants for dApp incentives. Then they give a list of use cases which may, travel use cases, which may have specific advantages being built on the blockchain. I'm just going to go quickly through them. Inventory management, payment and tax compliance, settlement facilitation, identity management, baggage tracking, loyalty programs, travel proof and digital souvenirs, tokenization and dedicated coins, and dApp for smart travel. Then they add a few more with a bit of explanation. The first one is NFT voucher platform. Let's read it. Creating additional value for customers in the travel industry's ecosystem is often based on several companies working closely together to have a customer enjoy a trade. Traditionally, this would mean various contracts between parties, mutual agreements, negotiations, and financial processes and checks to redeem the voucher. A voucher platform on Camino replaces a lot of these manual and lengthy processes simply by a smart contract solution issuing NFTs. For example, an OTA would like to offer a free drink on a flight for any customer booking in a particular time for a specific value. Both parties, the airline and the OTA, have a wallet with Camino tokens, and the smart contract executed will automatically generate an NFT for the client's wallet address. This NFT voucher can be redeemed at any service provider, even during flights without an internet connection. So I won't comment too much on this specific case. It's not 100% clear to me, but basically the idea to use NFTs as a primitive which represents some value given by somebody, by a company who gave it to you, and which have monetary value or redeemable value and can be accepted by any other company. So this is actually true, and we experimented with these things at Chips Community with the Traveler Loot and the Little Traveler. Basically, the innovation here is that once you issue an NFT to your clients, this is not some digital asset which only exists in your ecosystem. It's a ecosystem-wide digital asset. Actually, it's blockchain-wide because they could be even bridged to other blockchains. So another company could simply say, okay, we're going to accept company A NFTs, and we're going to give you a free drink if you give one of them, or even if you hold one of them only, so they can attract those people. So NFTs are, as I was saying before, the use cases are really infinite, and it certainly makes sense to play with them at the beginning and to conceive them, to put them into a litepaper. The second one is trading platform, which is a bit of a misnomer because what we're actually saying here is NFTs representing a hotel room or a flight seat, and being NFTs, they can be sold, they can be transferred, so they open an infinite number of possibilities. And we did this, I'm sorry to bring back trips community into this, but we really experimented with those things really early on. Last year, we did the first NFT booking for a villa in Ibiza. And since then, we have been kind of experimenting with this concept. And it's really good to see that they are being adopted, at least at the theoretical level, by new players in the market. So definitely, I am really bullish on the use of NFTs for hotel bookings or flight seats and everything else. The next use case is hotel information, and I have to admit it's not clear to me because I'm not an expert in those dynamics. Basically, they say that, well, let me read it. In today's travel ecosystem, providing a hotel identification and information service requires the provider of such information to obtain and publish information constantly. Maybe something to do with APIs or, maybe availabilities and stuff. Both acquiring and publishing that information are facilitated by numerous bilateral contracts and interfaces that need to be explained, negotiated, and built, inducing a considerable cost and time factor. A hotel platform on Camino reduces these efforts dramatically as the right to obtain hotel data can be minted into an NFT. All right, so the NFT gives you access. NFT has access to APIs, maybe. The data itself can be stored on the decentralized, cryptographically secure data storage provided by Camino. That's probably something to do with IPFS or something like that, where basically the data is open to everyone, but is cryptographically secured. So even if you see it, you can't read. You need a key to read it. Okay, using this mechanic, the hotel information provider does not even need to know its customers. They would simply buy the NFT and could access the hotel data from there. Also, the data storage automatically creates new indexes whenever the data is updated. I don't understand this sentence myself. It's easy to ensure that the latest information is always available. Also, obtaining hotel information becomes less tedious, as travelers could be incentivized to upload data, like images, attributes, and so on, only being rewarded if the community classifies the given information as correct and helpful. This part is probably referring to some kind of business model in the hotel industry I'm not aware of, or I'm not understanding which one. So I won't comment further on that. It's certainly a new use case I never thought of, so it's interesting. So next one, demand bundling. Offering a set of activities or flights requires the service providers to forecast potential demand and hoping to fill all available seats. Okay, this refers to, an agency which wants to sell you the trip to the airport, the flight, the trip from the airport, the hotel, the tours, and everything in one go. Demand bundling, right? Alternatively, the service provider could create virtual services, collect bookings and money from the customers, and only create the actual service once enough customers have signed up. This requires the service provider to keep track of customer payments, manage funds, and return charges if not enough customers come together to justify creating the service. On Camino, just one smart contract that collects all payments can realize such demand bundling business models. Then, if demand turns out insufficient for the service provider, the smart contract automatically returns all charges to the customer. Or if demand for the service is high enough, the smart contract transfers all the charges to the service provider, who will then perform the service in return. These smart contracts could also be set up by more than just one service provider, catered to low-demand destinations and activities profitably. Yeah, definitely an interesting use case here, in which basically you make the creation of this different, a certain number of customers who want the service, you make it automatic, you make the raising the money automatic, and you also make it transparent, I suppose, because everybody can see what's going on at any time. Loyalty programs. The power of smart contracts enables all existing types of loyalty programs and previously unmanageable ones for a fraction of the setup and administration resources. This is maybe closer to what we're doing with Little Traveler and Traveler Loot. But anyway, it's always the same concept. I don't even need to read this. Basically, it's for every booking you have, you get a certain number of tokens or an NFT, which can be spent in the same chain or in other chains or in completely different companies in the travel space. And you don't need, let's say you are a small hotel chain, you don't need to create the whole system or buy the whole system, because NFTs and tokens are already a system. It's already out there and it works already. So all you need to do is to create an NFT collection and give it to your customers, I suppose. But let me read it anyway. Examples of loyalty program transactions that can be processed on a blockchain include the transfer of loyalty points between accounts, the exchange of points between different programs, and the bundling of redemption offers across multiple partners. It also facilitates improved insights for personal marketing, as the companies gain valuable information on how the customer redeemed the membership points. Yeah, you can see on the blockchain this customer, how often she travels, how much money it's spent, a lot of information. You can make very personalized marketing here. The smart contract generated will autonomously manage all aspects of the programs according to its parameters and will be immutable. Therefore, it prevents policy rollbacks and sunsetting that are common in some industry and harm customers' trust in loyalty programs. You know, when you got those points and then they expire or they close the program and you've been collecting points for years and then you get pissed. So that could introduce predictability in the whole system, right? Most of today's existing loyalty programs create an administrative overhead, yet leave the benefits of participation rather unclear to customers. Cumulative points are almost never redeemed. Using Camino as the basis to build ERC20 compatible loyalty tokens that can be freely redeemed at the brand's customer interaction channels or even used within the Camino network. Create a competitive market that provides organizations with feedback on how they're doing. Additionally, customers can easily be rewarded for feedback and reviews. Using loyalty wallets that track tokens across partners and purchase types enables connectivity and allows for real-time transaction, processing, and reconciliation. Managing the exchange of points using smart contracts for coordination and providing a full audit trail. So this thing about the loyalty programs, it's simply a better way to manage these loyalty programs from the point of view of the customer. From the point of view of the hotel or the airline, the fact that people collect points, which means they choose that brand, they spend money in that brand, and then they collect points which they never use. This is great for the company in many cases, I suppose, because they're getting something valuable for free. At the same time, they damage these loyalty programs. Who wants them anymore? You know how it ends up, right? All the time, or almost all the time. You just don't want to get into another one of those and a couple of years later realize that they were worthless. Last use case, shopping cart booking. Let's read it. Today's travelers are striving to create their own individual travel experience. They want to create their very own itinerary from flights, hotels, activities, and excursions. And for convenience, they want to purchase those travel components in one consolidated process. This kind of booking is almost impossible to realize with the current travel technologies, as the whole booking must be unavailable if one component is unavailable. But one would only realize that a component isn't available during booking. This problem can be solved with blockchain. When availability is processable on a blockchain, one can make sure that the booking with all the components is only made if all needed components are available without the risk of an incomplete shopping cart booking. This is something we all understand. You want to book a trip, and you have to book the flight and the hotel, right? And you go like, okay, I'm going to book the flight or the hotel first. Well, let's book the hotel first. You book the hotel from the 25th, and then the flight is not available, or it's a very expensive day. Okay, so you book the flight first. Book the flight 20 to 27th. And then you go, and the hotel doesn't have a room on the 20th. So you say, okay, before booking, I'm going to check all of them. And you check all of them. You check the hotel, you check the flight, you check whatever. And then a minute later, the hotel is gone. So the promise of this system is that you check it, and once everything is available, you can check it every second. You don't need to check it as a user. A system can check it, right? You just say, I want to go here, 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 here. The system checks it, and if it's available, you buy it, because it's a question of data availability. The data is there. It's open even to automatic systems. And so it allows this kind of composability for the single traveler. New chapter, users of Camino. Camino has the ambition to change how travel is organized around the globe. So let's see, they have different kind of users. The travelers, okay. They have the service providers, we saw them before. Tech providers, let's read this one. An efficient, fast, and common blockchain-based infrastructure for the travel industry favors tech providers, especially since it reduces the efforts to build new products for their clients. The blockchain reduces the effort of building complex business mechanics and payment processes as it automatically orders transactions and ensures the validity and integrity. It doesn't really say what tech providers do here. I suppose that because of these properties, it's much easier to build on top of Camino than on the existing fragmented infrastructure. Investors, and here the thing is that you can be an investor even by holding a few tokens. And of course, there's going to be different kinds of investors, the pre-sale investors, the ICO investors, the people who come later, etc. And now we go into the tokenomics. Tokenomics is basically the concept of how the token is distributed, right? Bitcoin tokenomics was whoever mines gets a lot, and then as the time passes, people get less. So people mining Bitcoin at the beginning, they will get 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes because, it was just one miner at the beginning, and then there were two. And today, every 10 minutes, the whole network is creating 6.25 Bitcoin, and one miner gets it. So it's much harder to get Bitcoins. Of course, the price of Bitcoin is much higher than before. Before it was zero. Ethereum is pretty similar. It's going to change soon. We at Trips did differently. We said anybody who helps gets these coins. We didn't sell them, and we didn't require any proof of work or proof of stake because we are not a blockchain. So it's basically, tokenomics is let's create tokens and let's put them out there and distribute them. And there's different ways to do it, right? Here is how they explain it. Let's read it. I'm just going to use percent. I'm not going to give you numbers because it doesn't really matter. So 7% of the supply goes to the founders, so the people who are launching this project. And there's a lockup period of 3 years. It means for 3 years, you can't sell them. Usually, this happens by blocking them in a smart contract, which everybody can see, and we are 100% sure that they cannot sell. It's not usually based on a promise or a piece of paper, a contract. Of course, this being done, I suppose, I don't know where the token is. Let's suppose that the token is on their own blockchain. Well, this could be changed by the validator agreeing, colluding, basically. If it's on another blockchain, then no, we are safe. The team gets 7.5%, so founder 7, team 7.5, advisors 2.5. So when I say founders 7%, it means that if there's two founders, they get 3.5 each. Actually, in Trips, we recently, initially it was 15% for the founders. Then we decided that was too much, so we launched a vote to token holders, and it came out 7%. You can see the vote still today on Snapshot, of which I have personally about 5%, and my other co-founder Alessandro has 2% or something. So we are around these numbers. I still think it's too much. I still think 7% or 5% for a founder may be too much. It is certainly too much in Trips because I have so many tokens that if I vote, I will basically decide everything. So I never vote in Trips. That's because Trips, the token is not well distributed. There's a few hundreds, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people who have it, but they don't have many compared to me, right? So 7% is not bad for founders, provided that many people have them. And of course, doing an ICO, it allows a better distribution, right? Anyway, total team and founders and advisors, 17%. Then you have the seed investment. So basically the investors, right? People who come in and pay before the project is even launched or even started to build. You got a seed investment of 4.3%. So some people are putting some euros or dollars and get 4.53% of the tokens, also locked up for 3 years. These are people who basically the first people who put the money. Then they do a pre-sale. Pre-sale means you go to other investors and say, we raise some money. Do you want a few of these tokens? And they get 5%. I don't know the price. Maybe they're going to say the price. Usually the price of the seed is the cheapest. So they get a lot of tokens for little money. Then pre-sale pays a bit more. And the third step is ICO. So basically everybody can buy these tokens after the seed investment and the pre-sale. And usually the ICO gets a worse deal because they pay more. So when the ICO starts, we're going to look at the price of the ICO. Let's say it's 1 cent per token. And then we're going to ask the question, how much did the pre-sale pay? Oh, let's make it easier. Let's say that they sell it for €1, okay? 1 token, €1, just to make it simple. I don't think they're going to sell for that amount. And yeah, I want a bit of them. I want to buy €1,000 of them. But before that, I'm going to ask, how much did the pre-sale buy it for? And normally there's 2 answers. One is we don't tell, and one is they pay that amount. So if they don't tell, red flag, I won't even consider the ICO. I may wait later after the ICO. If they say they paid 90 cents and I pay $1 or €1, but they are stuck for 3 years and I'm not stuck for 3 years, okay, maybe interesting. If they say they pay 10 cents, well, that's a big difference. So I already know that I won't be able to sell them. I will have to sell my tokens before 3 years because then they come in. Even if the price is 20 cents and I paid $1, I say dollar, euro, let me stay on dollar. So if I paid $1 and the price they paid is 10 cents, 3 years later they sell for 20, they double the money. Even if they sell for 50 cents. Why? I lost my money. So the less they pay, the least they paid, the more careful I have to be, basically. So the total investment, including the ICO, is 16.8%. So we got 17% people who work there, basically. Almost 17%, the investors, this is 34%. And all the rest, 66%, stays with the company / the DAO. We'll see that. So basically, they're going to use the extra tokens for DApp incentive, marketing. Another sale is not clear if it's a sale, private sale or an ICO. Probably they want to decide when the time comes. The reward pool, which I suppose is for liquidity, and a reserve, generally a reserve. There you go. So they're going to issue 1 billion tokens in total, which is a round number, easy to remember. Great. Now, what do I think about this? I suspend my judgment because I don't have enough information, namely the price, the seed investment, and the pre-sale will pay compared to the ICO price. Another comment is nobody really talks about ICOs anymore. ICO is a term which has been tainted by what happened in 2017 and 18. Unfairly, in my opinion, because many ICOs were great. Binance was an ICO. And if you bought at their ICO, you would have made a lot of money. And in general, the total money invested in ICO is much less than the money the ICO companies are worth today. Even if 99.99 of them are worthless, if you found the good ones, you made a lot of money. So ICO is a term I like, actually. It's clean. No, it's clean. It's not considered clean anymore, but I think it's a honest term. It's initial coin offering. But what people did, they changed the name because they don't want to do ICO, so they call it token generation event, and other names, whatever. So it's actually honest to call it ICO. Maybe not from a marketing point of view, but I'm really fine with that. Call things for what they are. A question remains to be answered about is this ICO going to be a KYC one or not? But I guess we'll see in due time. Then they say that the first year after the ICO, rewards will be up to the 20% APR of the locked stake. Rewards will be calculated and paid out of pro rata temporis. I suppose they're talking about liquidity pool rewards. Like you lock your tokens and another token, I suppose, in a pool, and you get 20% of tokens, of CAM tokens in exchange. When you look at this is the inflation in a way of the token. It's not only that; it's part of also the unlock counts, etc. But that's a number to look at when you want to evaluate the token price projections. Then we have the roadmap. It's pretty simple. Completed foundation of the chain for travel AG completed in Q4 2021. Launch of the testnet, so the blockchain in test mode called Columbus. That was done in Q2 2022, so not long ago. Next one is the pre-sale of Camino tokens. So I guess now people are buying those tokens, pre-investors. So I don't know if you can contact them and ask to buy, or if it's something more private. Ask them if you're interested. And then there's the initial coin offering, the ICO, which happens in Q3 and Q4. And then in Q4, so the end of this year, launch of the first dApps and Camino 1.0. So they launched the blockchain, and there's going to be the first dApp or the first dApps on top of it. And then Q1 2023, Camino listing on public exchange, IEO. Okay, that's not clear to me. IEO is initial exchange offering, which means Binance launches the new token. So you go to Binance with a new token, and instead of selling it in an ICO on chain, you sell it through Binance. There's an IEO. The listing on the public exchange, sometimes, maybe that's what they mean. You're going to be able to buy it. So that will be like, let's say they go on Binance, you're going to be able to buy the token on Binance on a public exchange for the first time in Binance, even if you could buy it before on Uniswap or any other decentralized exchange. So this is not so clear. Now, in general, what has changed in the last couple of years is that you tend to have your token on a market in a decentralized way first, and then the exchanges pick you up because they see there's volume and they add you. It's not anymore that you go to the exchange and you try to get in, because this has been historically very expensive, easily in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some are much cheaper, but they're completely worthless. We are constantly approached by second-tier exchanges, which they don't want much money, but they don't give you anything. So you want to be on Binance, you want to be on Coinbase, you want to be on the big ones. But how to get there is changing all the time. So I guess they have time to see that strategy through. It's always good to be on a centralized exchange, of course, but it has to be one of the major. Then they go on in trying to give a growth perspective. So first of all, they go like the travel, or they say global leisure spending in billions of dollars is growing. Okay, remains to be seen, because if we have a big recession, I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And then we have another graph here, which is the global number of wallet users in millions. 2015 was, the number is too small, it's like probably a million or something. 2017, maybe 5 million. Let's jump to the last cycle, 2018, 20 million. And now we are about 80 million or something. So it's projected that in 2025, there's going to be 160, 180 million wallet users. Then there's another graph about basically the blockchain market cap growing. It shows today 5-6 billion, and it's gonna be to about 40 billion. Okay, it's gonna grow, that's for sure, even exponentially. So even if the market, I don't understand this number too much, in $1 billion, right? It says it's gonna reach $40 billion, while the whole market cap of crypto is already $1 trillion. So maybe they refer to second layers, so apps, but not blockchains. I don't know. Anyway, is blockchain gonna grow? Yeah, okay, for sure. Then they go to the team. I'm just gonna say the name and what they do, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Ralph Uzbek is the CEO. He's a serial innovator of travel technology, and he's a founder of Traveltainment, which was sold to Amadeus, Vtours, and Weekend.com. Then Thomas Stirneman, chairman and owner of Alpha Golf Travel. He was the CEO of Hotel Plan Group for 8 years. Before that, he worked at Quani. So another expert in the travel industry. Then we have Pablo Castillo, CIO. He was also a executive board member of Hotel Plan, worked for Quani, etc. So probably these two guys knew each other. Then we have Anke Su. She's a lady. She had many leadership positions in Lufthansa, Flights.com, Sabre, FTE, Interest, etc. TUI. Another expert. She's business development and growth at Chain for Travel. She's also an external doctoral blockchain researcher at the University of Zurich. And so she's an expert in blockchain. Great. Alexander Koch is a head of technology. You could say that from the picture. He's a long beard. And let's see, he's German, I suppose. And he's got a lot of experience in this, so great. Daniel Porschke, managing director and head of product, is studied international management, computer science, etc. Okay, then we have Vincent Uzbek, head of sales and marketing, and he's also an expert in travel. Then we go to the advisors. Andrew Owen Jones, CEO and co-founder of BD for Travel 2013. He won the award of ML-based business serving travel retail business. He was CEO at Amadeus Leisure, board member of Comtech Multicom, CCO Virgin Travel Store, Virgin Atlantic. Okay. Beat Blazer, co-founder and managing partner of Falkensteiner Ventures, which sounds like a VC. He gained a comprehensive overview of travel and hospitality. He was MD at Thomas Cook, etc., etc. Then we have Benjamin Usinger, chief of staff at BitMEX. Oh, okay, BitMEX is an exchange, famous one. Then he was at KPMG of the crypto advisory team. So this is Benjamin is the crypto guy basically. Then we have Christian Sugar from Munich, worked at CERN. Okay, also a very technical guy, so good to have him on board as an advisor. James Carter, SFP engineering delivery hero. Okay, I'm gonna skip a bit. There's many of them. Jan Stenger, serial entrepreneur, digital business expert, developed the first B2B platform in 2000. Then we have Marcus Pfau, is a developer. Then we have Michele Rubel. I know Michele personally. We worked together on the project of the first NFT booking for a hotel at the Hotel Cadidio in Venice with Alpitour. And I'm sure he's the guy behind the loyalty program in this litepaper because he was passionate about this last time we talked. Then we have Ulrich Sieber, and that's it. So advisors, for those who don't know, are people who say, okay, I want your help. If you need some specific, talk about some parts of the business, you can talk to me. I'm available. So for a startup to have advisors means that they can tap into knowledge very easily. They just call these people and they don't have to look for an expert in crypto, for instance, because they have them already. Of course, it's better to have people on board in the team, but the team cannot be that big. So it's like the enlarged team. They don't work full time most of the times. But it's really good to have them, and they have a stellar lineup of advisors. In crypto, especially 2017-18, the advisor was just there, because they wanted to get some tokens. So it remains to be seen how involved they are. But this seems a serious project, so I suppose it's like they're going to be actually available to share their knowledge. Then they have the validators, partners, and supporters. That's interesting. Let me see a few ones. Okay, Alpitour. Alpitour, I mentioned, is the company we cooperated on the NFT. I'm just going to read the ones I know. Beyond Bookings, I heard about them. Eurowings Holiday. Falkensteiner. Turns out these hotels and residences is not a VC. Sorry about that, Falkensteiner. Who do we have here? AG, which I suppose is not Google. Holiday Pirates. Holiday CH, Hotel Plan. Lufthansa City Center. Lufthansa Holiday. Sabre is huge. And TUI, even more huge. And Xeni, the one we saw at the beginning. So this seems to be one of those projects we were waiting for, which collects enough big people from the travel industry for a big project in the travel industry. It had to happen. It happened. We already had others, like D-Travel is another one, which collected this kind of people. Travala, much longer before them. It's going to be more and more that we see these projects with big names, because everybody's going to get into this. Everybody, even if they don't know it, even if they don't want it, this is my thesis. Everybody in travel will go to Web3, because Web3 is going under them, they're going to have no choice. This is interesting, very interesting to see. So let's go on and read about the Camino Foundation. So Camino Foundation is a bit like the Ethereum Foundation. You need to set up a legal entity which can keep the money. You can't give them to a company. Okay, so you do a foundation. The foundation manages the money. This is a pretty standard way to go. You build the foundation, you do the fundraising, you build the ecosystem, and then the foundation, if the ecosystem becomes more decentralized, the foundation loses power, basically reduces the number of tokens, and then everything is owned by the users. That's kind of the way decentralized systems go. So there is no mention anymore of the DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So I suppose that the DAO in this context is the fact that you have a foundation which holds the tokens, and then you have different participants with different numbers of tokens in their hands. But the decision process seems to be centralized. There's no governance. The tokens are not used for deciding things. The only decentralized thing, semi-decentralized thing here is the fact that the validators vote on the price of the gas. So I wouldn't call this a DAO. I would actually remove this name from this. Now, also because DAO is very attractive nowadays. I already see in a year or two, DAOs are going to be laughed on until they are not, because everybody is misusing this term. And DAOs are not working today, mostly. So if they put this name, this DAO in the light paper to make it sound a bit more attractive, I would remove it. I would completely remove it. This is not a DAO yet. It's a foundation with companies, private sale investors, etc. It's perfectly fine. I have nothing against building things in this way, because I have no idea how to build things in the travel industry on Web3. We are all experimenting, right? So this is perfectly fine. But yeah, I wouldn't call it a DAO, basically. So before closing this, let's check the website, because the website seems to be more updated than the light paper. One thing I didn't mention is that they raised about $4 million. I couldn't find from whom, but anyway, $4 million is a good amount to start a long-term project, definitely. And also I found out they have an event in Palma de Mallorca, Spain on the 14th and 14th of September. Bad luck, because we have on the 14th of September in Porto, Portugal, the Web3 Travel Summit. And then they plan to visit some other conferences. One is an Avalanche conference, which tells us they are very deeply invested in that technology. Of course, I mean, I'm saying something obvious. They building the blockchain on top of it. Could be that they got investments and grants from the Avalanche itself. As I was saying, that's what layer ones do. They get out, they pay users, they incentivize users with grants to come and build on top of them. Maybe Avalanche is also interested in having forked layer ones. I don't know. But anyway, they're going to be there. They're going to visit some other conferences like the World Aviation Festival in Amsterdam and Focusrite in Phoenix in November. Wow, we're done. Final thoughts. First of all, it's been fun to make these analyses. I think I'm going to do more on other projects, provided I don't, make too many enemies out of this. I try to be as objective as I can. But I have to say this. If you are listening to that and say, okay, what does Luca say chain for travel? Buy, not buy. Like John put the name, this Kramer guy on CNBC. That's not what I'm doing. This is not financial advice. It actually is not financial advice. I'm trying to see a project from both sides, like the bull case and the bear case. And I'm trying to see how decentralized it is without saying that it should be decentralized completely. I've always said decentralization depends on the use case, and it depends on the historical moment. So I tried here to give you a few comments right and left. Is this a buy? I don't know. I don't even know if tomorrow they launch the ICO, if I'm going to buy it. Because I haven't made my mind. I just read the light paper. I haven't talked to them. I haven't seen the website. I haven't seen the blockchain. They are on testnet, right? I should see the testnet. What will I see in the testnet? Well, I suppose I will see a fork of Avalanche, and I will see the number of validators. So please take this as a first hot take on a project of which I've only read the light paper. I may have missed some things. I have misinterpreted some things. Don't take this as a judgment on the company. Now, in general, so for myself into the analysis of Web3 in travel projects, this is for me the beginning of a years-long analysis on this project. So if they're going to be around for a while, this is just my first step. And I shared it with you, not to judge this company itself, but to show you my thought process so that you can use it if you find it valuable for the next one, of which I won't have time maybe to make an analysis. So this has been a learning process as this whole podcast has been about so far. Now, since I had this discussion with myself basically about this project, and I may have gotten some things wrong, I extend openly an invitation to anyone from Chain for Travel to come and have an interview, so we can dig a bit deeper into the project. And if I said something wrong or they want to answer, they're going to have the possibility to do so. All right, this is the end of today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. For more insights on Web3, follow me on Twitter at tripluca, TRIPLUCA, and see you next time.